I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it because it's the first Nintendo Direct of 2023, and that's happening today, the 8th of February, Wednesday, and it's going to be at 10 p.m. British Standard Time. But of course, the main reason why I'm excited is because it's about 93 days until the release of the very much anticipated sequel to the Breath of the Wild, which is called Tears of the Kingdom. So I kind of want to use this opportunity to predict, or to at least list out 5 things that I would like this Nintendo Direct to tell us about with regards to this game. This is a sequel to a game that was released 6 years ago, right? So there's so much that we need to know, we need to understand why it's taking this long. And for me, Breath of the Wild was such a key moment in my gaming history. The game hit so many notes. The game was what I've always wanted a Zelda game to be, right? The landscapes, the different races, and different weapon types, the different clothing, etc., etc. It was everything that I think everyone wanted, and so obviously this sequel is hotly anticipated. So here are 5 things that today's Nintendo Direct needs to let us know about the Tears of the Kingdom. Number 1, the Direct needs to give us a gist of the storyline in Tears of the Kingdom. And what I mean by that is, for example, in Majora's Mask, we see the mask, right? We get and understand that masks are going to be important in that game. Or in Ocarina of Time, we see the ocarina and we hear time. So therefore, we get we get a slight understanding of what might be involved within that game. At least an instrument, and at least something to do with perhaps time manipulation, right? But in Tears of the Kingdom, the title is quite vague, and with the former trailers, they've been pretty vague as well. So I think that in this Direct, we need to have, it doesn't have to be an all-out expo, but we need to know what the story is. So for example, we see the figure underneath the castle, who we will believe to be Ganondorf. So we need to finally understand, since we're just literally 3 months away, we need to finally understand what it all means. At least give us a gist. Is this figure evil, or has this figure repented from old ways and they are perhaps doing something heroic down there, right? Sealing some sort of ancient evil, perhaps. And I think we also need to know what transpired from the first trailer. So in the cavern underground, where we meet this figure, this Ganondorf-like figure, what happened to Zelda when she collapsed within the rubble, right? So I think that this Direct needs to really give us a gist of the storyline in Tears of the Kingdom. Number 2, we need an idea of the extent of the new world or the new landmass. Because a big query is whether or not Tears of the Kingdom will reuse the same Hyrule as it is present in the Breath of the Wild. Or what a lot of people had issue with is that obviously we have had Breath of the Wild now for 6 years, so we are overly familiar with that landmass, with all the regions, right, as big as it is. But so we really need to know if we are going to be traversing on the same land, right? This also includes just how many islands are featured in the sky, especially if these are new kind of geographical areas. How many of them exist, and in what area, or what area of Hyrule do they hover around? And if we are using the same Hyrule as we did in Breath of the Wild, does that mean that those outskirts, the lands on the outskirts, on the edge of the map, so are those extents going to be open up? Are we going to be able to reach out further to the extended lands of Hyrule, right? Or has time transpired from the end of Breath of the Wild so much so that there is a rebuilding in Hyrule, especially I guess around the Hyrule Castle town? So will towns and areas look different? Towns like Tarry Town, which saw Link helping that community to build up as an optional quest. I think this Direct should give us a good idea as to the extent of the new land. At number 3, yes, I do believe we need a Switch OLED for this game. Okay, so yes, a few months ago we got that apparent leak of the gold and dark green Nintendo Switch OLED, which was supposed to accompany this game. So we just want to confirm if that's true. I don't know, I was 50-50 on that leak, because in some areas it did look kind of low quality, but then again, some of the limited edition Switches do actually look low quality. And I'm looking at you, Smash Brothers Ultimate. So it would be nice to have that confirmation. For example, myself, I don't currently actually have a Switch, so I guess I was holding out for the announcement of a Tears of the Kingdom Switch, which I was hoping would probably be gold or white, something fancy, which I know Nintendo tends to do with their Zelda consoles, particularly as it's around the 6th-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch. So I would like them to confirm a Switch OLED for this Zelda game. At number 4, we need an overview of the new hand mechanic, the staining of Link's hand that seemingly has powers, right? The green hand. We need to know what happened to the Sheikah Slate. Has this gimmick in this hand mechanic, has it replaced the Sheikah Slate? If so, what are the powers? What are the advancements? Does it continue over with the powers like magnesis and stasis? Or are these completely unique powers? We got a glimpse of those powers in a previous trailer as well, right? Where there was like time manipulation as well. And last but not least, at number 5, we should get an understanding, or there should be something on display in this direct that tells us why it took so long to bring the sequel out. Again, this is a sequel of a game that came out 6 years ago. And for what we know, it's using the same exact game engine and potentially using the same world, which is very likely. So why did it take 6 years to bring this out? Was it an extended storyline? Right, because Breath of the Wild wasn't really story focused, it was more mechanic focused, world focused, and the story element was quite small and formulaic. So hopefully in Tears of the Kingdom, the storyline is much more fledged out, right? Or is it an entirely new world? Perhaps the portions that they showed us in the trailer is just the opening part, and maybe it's a new landmass similar to what Majora's Mask was to Ocarina of Time, right? I think we do need some sort of explanation, some sort of understanding as to grasp why it took 6 years to bring out the sequel to Breath of the Wild, right? So Breath of the Wild came right at the beginning of the Switch lifespan, and seemingly Tears of the Kingdom is being released right at the end of the Switch's lifespan. So it'd be good to know why this is. But these are my 5 things that I would like to see in tonight's Nintendo Direct. What would you like to see in today's Direct? Write down below in the comments, let us know, and share your points of view. But for now, peace.